Welcome to the kitchen table where the champions of all budget decks battle it out in the gauntlet for bragging rights and most of all for your viewing pleasure. You can also join in the fun and win some prizes like the secret layer. The only thing you need to do is to predict who the winner will be of the next match and leave it in the comments below.
This iconic match is between cats and dogs. Now before we start, let's look at the deck strategies. This dog tribal deck is an aggressive deck with a lot of dogs in the colors white, red and black. It plays pack leaders and alpine hound masters, but also legendary dogs like Isamaru and Koronos. With a fitting flavor text, Species Specialist needs to be in the deck together with Vanquisher's Banner. Do you like cats? Do you like landfall? Then this is the perfect deck for you. This tribal landfall cats deck has a lot of cheap cats that get stronger when you play lands. It also plays cat lords, a powerful enchantment called Felidar Retreat, and Scapeshift is the landfall combo card in the deck.
Round 1. Fight!
Welcome to the Battle of the Pets. Cats versus dogs, and first we look at the cats player. We see a Steppe-Lynx for the first 1-drop landfall cat. There is also a territorial skite cat. I also see some lands and also a Felidar Retreat, so a good starting hand. For the cats, let's see what the dogs have in store for us. Already 3 lands. Now we see a alpine houndmaster. There's also Isamaru and a pack leader. And the kitties will start. They start with a Steppe-Lynx, a 0-1 with landfall, and whenever a land enters the battlefield, the kitty gets +2/+2. Dogs, they start with a tap land that gives them all 3 colors. And now we head back to the Meowdles, back to the cats, and they will play not a cat, but a weird looking griffin. One of my favorite cards, and the Steppe-Lynx gets in for 2 damage because a forest came into play. Now back to the dogs, they play a plains, and now we will probably see a dog or a dog master enter the battlefield. It will be the Underworld Rage Hound. That's a 3-1 and it has escape, so it can come back from the dead. Back to the Meowdles, back to the kitties, back to the cats, and they can play now a Canopy Vista, their 3rd land, triggering both the Steppe-Lynx and the Griffin. And there is Territorial Skite Cat. We will put a counter on the fledgling Griffin and then a block. The dog will take out the cat will take out the dog. We have 2 damage and back to the dogs now. They play their 3rd land. And we also see they have a Crackling Doom in hand. They also have a pack leader in hand, of course. A very strong dog. But it's going to be the Alpine Hound Master, and he brings along with him a Alpine Watchdog and an Igneous Cure. So 2 dogs will be searched and will be added to the hand of the dog player. And then maybe we will see Isamaru also enter the battlefield. Will he join the kennel of dogs, or will there be a trick and will the dog player just pass the turn? Dog player is thinking about it. What would you do? Would you play Isamaru or would you leave mana open for fight as 1? The dog player will pass the turn and we go back to the cats. And the cats, they draw an Evolving Wilds. That's a great land in a landfall deck because it triggers twice. And the cool thing is that you can also sacrifice it as an instant. But first, another Territorial Skite Cat. And now Evolving Wilds, adding a +1/+1 counter on the Griffin and on both the cats. And that will be another counter because the Evolving Wilds is immediately sacrificed for a forest that comes into play tapped. So the little kitties, they grow up fast. And here is an attack with both the Griffin. But the Alpine Houndmaster is now blocking and he will fight as one, gaining indestructible and +1/+1, killing one territorial Skycat. Dog player still takes an extra damage from the trample, adding that to the 4 damage of the Griffin. Here is Lightning Bolt, and the cat player is now tapped out. So another Skycat goes to cat heaven. It doesn't have 9 lives. And here is the Alpine Watchdog with Vigilance and an attack from the Houndmaster. First blood for the dogs. Now another land for the cats. There's still a Griffin hanging around. But now first the Faladar Retreat. This one is an enchantment that can create cat tokens and put +1/+1 counters on creatures. And they can also gain Vigilance. And here is Grasslands. That's another interesting land for a landfall deck. A counter on the Griffin. And that's now a 5/5. Plus we get a cat token. And we have our own little cat tokens of our own Cat Storm. Thank you Bella for the design of those great cat tokens. An attack with the Griffin for 5 damage. Dogs on 6 now. Cats only have 1 card in hand. Dogs 6 cards, so it ain't over yet. But we need to deal with that Griffin. Now first an attack with the Alpine Watchdog and the Alpine Houndmaster. The Watchdog trades with the cat and 3 damage. And now are we going to see a Crackling Doom? And this one takes care of the Griffin. And adding 2 extra damage, of course, back to the cats now. And they draw a cat. And it's a big one. It's probably family of the tiger. Or maybe it just ate too much cat food. Here is 4 mana for the Frontland Validar. A 3/5 with Vigilance that can tap down other creatures. Meanwhile a forest is played and that brings along another cat token. And then Grasslands is being sacrificed also for a plains or a forest. And that could also be a Canopy Vista. So now let's decide if we got another cat or do we get a counter on both the Validar or the cat token. It's going to be another cat, another 2/2. So a very nice turn from the cats, who we thought were out, but now 3 more cats have joined the battlefield. And the dogs, they could use a 4th land, of course. So we head back now to the dog player. No attacks are possible. There we go, untapping the lands. And let's see what the draw is. It is that 4th land. That's good news for the dogs. Now let's see if the dogs can do more than just bark. Let's see if they also can bite at some cats. Here is Isamaru, Hound of Konda. And he comes into play together with the pack leader. And that's a small but super powerful dogs, giving other dogs +1/+1 and preventing all combat damage dealt to attacking dogs. And here is another land with some tricks, with some shenanigans. Because Validar Retreat now puts more counters on our cats. They all get Vigilance as well. And they now really can put the pressure on those dogs. The little Persians have turned into big panthers and they will all attack. Now let's see which defensive play the dogs have in store. The pack leader is great at attacking but not so great at blocking, of course. Isamaru is a 3/3, so he can take care of 1 kitten and another double block. So that means that the dogs are now at 2, but they do take care of 2 tokens and they still have some cards in hand. So they're definitely not out. But it's looking good for the cats with their Faladar Retreat out there and their Myriad Landscape. Now let's see what the dogs have in store for us. Can they draw a removal spell? It's a land. That means there's another pack leader joining the party. There's also an Igneous Cur. That's a good blocker. But now the cat player is tapping mana. She wants to tap down one of the creatures of the dog player. It's going to be the Alpine Houndmaster. And another cat is drawn. Kitties are not looking adorable anymore. They are quite fierce, quite aggressive. Here is Prowling Faladar. And that's a cat with vigilance, of course, also with landfall. And then with the Myriad Landscape being sacrificed, we are going to have 2 basic lands that share a land type enter the battlefield. And that doesn't mean only mana ramp. Here are 2 planes. It also means more kitties, more panthers, more saber-toothed tigers. I could go on forever naming cats. And this is probably how the dog player feels. It looks like an endless stream of furballs are coming his way. This time it's 1 token and 1 counter on each cat. And that means we have a very big frontland Faladar now. And the Prowling Faladar also gets 2 additional counters. Here is the attack by the frontland Faladar. And the dogs now, they do have a problem because those cats are just too big. Can they find a big removal spell? No, it's a little cur. And the dogs are going to get run over. They started so well with all the removal, taking care of the initial cat army, but the fluffballs, they just keep on coming. So no attacks possible. We go back to the kittens. And let's see what they have in store for their final card. This one's going to be the last nail in the coffin of the dogs. They're going to the pet cemetery because this one is called Feline Sovereign, giving all cats protection from dogs. And look at that flavor text. Dogs back, cats lay claim. Here is the final attack. And due to the protection, only the Alpine Houndmaster can block.
Game over.
Now you can join our leaderboard too by predicting who will be the winner of the next match and leave it in the comments below. Now if you want some more information about the tournament series, check out the link here. If you need some help predicting who will be the winner of the next match, check out the deck tech videos. And remember,
always keep it casual.